I'm just having my coffee, trying to ease into the morning this morning.
No, that's not going to happen.
And then I see Mika and Joe come across, and it's like, we met with Trump. I'm like, what? So I listened to their little soundbite from Morning Joe, where Mika does most of the talking. We'll talk about why that is in a second as well. But take a listen to this, and then we will chat about it.
Over the past week, Joe and I have heard from so many people, from political leaders to regular citizens, deeply dismayed by several of President-elect Trump's cabinet selections, and they are scared. Last Thursday, we expressed our own concerns on this broadcast and even said we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself. On Friday, we were given the opportunity to do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications. My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States profoundly disagreed. That's a task shared by reporters and commentators alike. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020, other than a personal call Joe made to Trump on the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful, he was upbeat, he seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we? 5 years of political warfare has deeply divided Washington and the country. We have been as clear as we know how in expressing our deep concerns about President Trump's actions and words in the coarsening of public debate. But for nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues that moved them to send Donald Trump back to the White House with their vote. Joe and I realize it's time to do something different. And that starts with not only talking about Donald Trump, but also talking with him.
Okay, so if you didn't pick up the I was told to say all of this vibe, your radar's not very good.
Especially on Joe's side. It looked like Joe was reading that for the first time right then and
100%. Well, so was she. I mean, it was just awkward. Everything about it, awkward. I'm not saying you didn't go talk to him, although I don't know if you did or not. But I'm not saying you didn't go talk to him. Let's presume you did, because presumably you did go down to Mar-a-Lago. But that, to me, was like a hostage video where you're allowed to say a couple things like we still disagree with him on a lot of issues, but then you have to read the rest of these lines because our network is getting crushed in the ratings, and they are. 50% plus, according to some of the different statistics out there since the election. They've gone down. There's all sorts of talk about where things go for MSNBC. You know, is there a all this kind of stuff. So that to me is what I heard there, because those obviously Maddow in the evening, but in the morning, Joe and Mika are the vitriol and the anger.
They set you the agenda, the talking points for the Democrats and for the legacy media with their morning show.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I mean that's how I read it, Tom. I don't know about you, but I listened to. I'm like, Mika doesn't agree with any of this stuff.
Right. Well, MSNBC, like you're saying, along with CNN, are in dire straits when it comes to ratings. And CNN's thinking about getting rid of some of their higher-priced anchors that they have on shows. MSNBC looks like they just might fold up shop and get out if nobody will buy them. But I also think they're going through a bit of a rebrand to kind of soften their image when it comes to Trump, if MSNBC does go away, because right now they're so toxic that it would be hard for them to get picked up by any other network without bringing the anti-Trump baggage along, because we're seeing sort of a realignment, a shift a little bit, getting away from Trump is Hitler on all these news outlets to, okay, we're still going to be anti-Trump, but we're not going to go as hard to the hoop. But other than Joy Reid, I don't think anyone's gone harder to the hoop against Trump than these two have.
Yeah.
So I think it's an attempt to try and soften their stance a little bit, and also give the allure that they're more, the cooler heads are prevailing, and they're going to be the cooler heads who are going to keep Trump in check.